Hello and welcome back to Jenna Gets Creative. As promised, if you actually did see Tuesday's video, I believe it has been suppressed. I have something to unbox and test out and review for you here today. Slightly future Jenna pausing to interrupt and say, this is also the Art Addicts Alliance upload day for July, so the piece I am going to do will be the Art Addicts Alliance theme. I am picking Fairytale, but we had an option of Fairytale or Childhood, and I will be back to do the usual Art Addicts Alliance ramble while I am unwrapping these things. The package is already open because I wanted to make sure it wasn't damaged, but otherwise I have not opened it yet. We are going to do the first impressions, unboxing, swatching, that kind of thing right now, and then in the morning I will come back and actually do a piece with this so that I can give my honest opinion in more of a review form. I have the full range 48 half pan set of Van Gogh watercolors by Royal Talens. It's not their highest grade, that would be the Rembrandts. It's more of a student grade paint, but really this is one of those lines where there's not a whole lot of difference and they are very light fast. I have a couple watercolors from this line. I really wanted more. If you're not aware, I do a lot of book blogging and that involves a lot of book tours, and the book tour companies, they don't want to share all of their profits. They don't pay each individual blog host for each individual post, but they run monthly or weekly or tourly contests. Usually we get Amazon credits. So here we are. That was a very rambly way to say that I bought it myself, but not with my own money. So, not sponsored, nobody sent this to me, I selected it, I spent all of my credit on Amazon to get this. So there they all are, they're all wrapped up individually, and it comes with a number 6 round brush. This looks like a pretty standard synthetic bristle round brush. We shall have to use it during this swatch and see if it's a good brush or not. I do have one other Royal Talens brush, happens to be a number 6 round from a Scholar box. It was a travel brush. It's one where you break down the handle and put the brush inside the handle as a travel brush. It really wasn't very good at holding itself together, so I actually glued it in the open position. Let's see, can I find it? Okay, never mind, we are not showing you my other Royal Talens brush because I can't find it at the moment. So this comes with 48 half pans. I am going to unwrap all of these before we get into swatching, obviously. It just makes sense to unwrap them all at once. I will ramble at you. It does look like, I don't know, what's unfortunate about the way that they arrange tins like this is like there's almost enough room for another half pan on the ends. You could almost squeeze something else in. Maybe when I get them unwrapped we could. Maybe there's that much bulk being taken up by the wrappers. We shall see. It's got a nice matte blue finish on it with that logo. There is this thumb hook holder. When you open it up, this does open all the way. It's not stuck out completely flat. It opens as far as the hinge will let it. That means you will actually be able to have some water pooling in here. This is metal, it's painted metal, which is good because being painted you're going to be able to see what color you've mixed. It's not another color, but being metal, your watercolor is not going to bead up. If you spread it out while you're mixing, it's actually going to stay spread out while you're mixing without, you know, needing to make absolute puddles. On this side, because of this shape, you have 4 distinct, much larger wells. This whole thing does lift out, so if you really wanted to, you could also use this as a mixing surface. 9552. No idea what that's for or what that means. While I'm unwrapping all the paints, let's talk about the Art Addicts Alliance, what we are, what we're doing, why this video is doing 2 things at once. So the Art Addicts Alliance is a group of artists here on YouTube. We collaborate on the third Friday of every month. We chat on Discord. We have a lot of fun with it. Our theme choices this month were Fairytale or Childhood, so everybody on the team who's participating will be producing artwork today that fits one of those themes. Be sure to check out all of the member channels. I will link everybody in the description box down below, as well as the pinned comment. The other official member channels are Jazz Capri, Weblight Dreams, Pan-Dimensional Space Zombie, All Funnies and Games, Aurora's Art World, Blue Flynn, The Artsy Pineapple, Justin Dwyer Artistry, Enjoy Drawing with Mary, Darkstar Creations, and Colornix. I do have an invite to our Discord channel in the description box down below if you're interested in joining us. You're welcome to come just hang out with us, fellow artists, chat about artsy things, or you can apply to be a featured guest with us or join us permanently. If you would like to be a featured guest, what that means is you will be somebody that everybody on the team shouts out for that given month. We'll make sure that you know what the theme is for the month ahead of time. We'll make sure you know about linking to everybody, whatnot, and you are part of the team for that month. You participate along with us, upload on the same day, we all shout each other out. It's fun. And then we part ways if you want to. If you would like to be a permanent member, we will ask you to submit an audition video. That can be your featured guest month video if you do that first, or you can just do an unofficial guest video at any time using any of our past themes. And the audition is basically just so that we can make sure that you're somebody we can work with. Basically, that just means you're actually producing art and you don't have anything problematic on your channel. Don't worry about not matching the style or skill level of other people on the team. We do like to see a lot of variety, and we're just here to have fun. Whether you are applying to be a featured guest or a permanent member, you do need to be at least 14 as per YouTube terms of service and, you know, to get around COPPA laws. Other than that, if you want to be a featured guest, all we ask is that art is at least one of the things you normally do on your channel and your YouTube channel is active, you know, been around for at least a month, that kind of thing. If you are applying to be a permanent member, we also want to see that you have at least 100 subscribers already. That's it. So come hang out with us on the Discord channel, participate unofficially, apply to join us, whatever you want to do. We'll see you over there. Alright, so as I suspected, the paper was actually taking up quite a bit of room, and you could get at least 4 more pans into this tin. Being that this is the full set for this line, I don't know why you would put something else in here, but you have the option. All of these standard colors, we've got an opaque white, this one here is a black, these two are grays. We have the dusk colors, and we have the interference metallics. I do have this copper in the professional line from Rembrandt in a tube, and that one I've noticed it's more just copper glitter suspended in the paint base, and so it takes quite a bit of build up to actually get an opaque layer of the copper color. So I'm really interested to try that one. So what I'm going to do right now, I have this little piece of mixed media paper that I have cut down to fit in here, and I'm just going to swatch everything in the order it appears here so that it's a quick reference when I'm working with it later. I'll comment on this brush if I have comments. We'll kick it into time-lapse. You'll be listening to music because I'm gonna cut in when I actually have a comment about any particular color. Okay, so just some quick comments on the swatching before we cut to me doing a full piece and giving my final impressions on it. That will be my impressions that I write after doing the full piece, so I can do the proper review. It appears that the first 3 rows plus the blacks and grays are the regular colors that we have here, and then these are the bonus colors. The white is indeed called an opaque white, and it does a fairly good job of going down over top of that black line I made. It's not the most opaque, it's not white gouache, but it's not a titanium white. Very nice yellows. I was hoping that this line would have a Naples yellow. I love Naples yellow. This doesn't have it. I could mix it though, probably with this one and the white. Very happy to have these nice reds in here. This one's a very true red. This one's like a burnt orange. These are pinker than I was hoping they would be. Very nice purples in here. Good range of blues. Look at that indigo. That is gorgeous. It's a very typical sap green. I love these greens in here. That turquoise is very nice. Very nice browns in here. We have Payne's gray. This is Davies gray. This is neutral tint. And this is oxide black. And then from there we got the dusk yellow, pink, and green. I was so excited to try these dusk colors. If you've been around here for quite a while, last summer I did a swap challenge collaboration with Darkest Raven Design, where we took pictures of our watercolor collections, we swapped pictures, and from each other's pictures we picked a very limited color palette to use. She had this one, the dusk pink. It looked so interesting. I was so intrigued by it, and that was one of the ones that I picked for her to use, and her painting came out gorgeous. So I've been very, very intrigued about these dusk colors ever since I finally get to play with them. These metallics and the interference colors are interesting. As you can see over the black lines, the metallics are somewhat opaque. I did really scrub onto the brush. I'm sure if I watered it down it would be just a shimmer coat, which is great. That means it's versatile. These two interference colors here, there's very little difference between this one and the silver. I would say this is more of a pearlescent color than this. The interference blue is stunning. It's just the, like, that mother of pearl purpley blue shine without actually putting a whole lot of color on the page. I don't know how well you can see these swatches. That's why I'm moving the paper around so much. It kind of makes me wish I had this palette before I did the recent No Box Art Box that had a metallic blue in it. Since the Art Addicts Alliance theme that I chose to go with for this month is Fairytale, I decided, you know, my test illustration to review these paints should be Fairytale related. There is a Russian fairytale about a woman, a witch, an entity named Baba Yaga. She lives in the woods, and the most interesting part about her story, in my opinion, is the fact that her house is completely mobile. It runs around the woods on a giant set of chicken legs. Ever since I heard about that story, it's always fascinated me, so I took the opportunity to paint that. It's a fun little children's book style illustration that I think really suits the character of this watercolor. So let's talk about the watercolors. I did try to use as many different colors as possible. You'll see at the end I start doing shadows and highlights with unusual colors, and I did try to get the metallics and the interference colors and the dust colors in there as well. These paints, they activate beautifully. They go down very, very nicely. I started doing wet into wet for the background, quickly realized that if the paint was wet enough, I really didn't need to. It moves around nicely, and you're really able to blend out any hard edges really easily because it's very eager to reactivate. That's a good thing and a bad thing. I found as I was going through further with the illustration that if paint was too wet, it tended to have an outline and a very desaturated center. So some of the shadows I tried to do to indicate the slats of wood on the siding of the house looked very hollow. I had to go over them multiple times. I also found that if I hadn't given anything ample opportunity to dry, if I was going over it or going up against it, it would reactivate and bleed again. You'll notice that in the round window at the top of the house. I have heard from some artists who've tried the Van Gogh colors that they like to be put down and left alone. They don't necessarily like to be super reworked. I didn't find that I had any difficulty anywhere I intentionally reworked, but I can definitely see how an artist who likes to work a particular way would come to that conclusion. I think that this is a great set of paints if you do illustration work. I think it's a great set of paints if you really like to let your watercolor bloom and bleed a bit. I think it's going to be great if you like to do mixed media and do something on top of your watercolor, like colored pencil. If you're trying to go super smooth, super refined, high level of fine detail, no blooming, nothing like that. If you're doing that with these paints, you're going to have to work very slowly so that all of your layers are completely dry. Otherwise, you will reactivate, you will make mistakes. So yeah, this is a set for people who embrace all of the characteristics of watercolor and aren't trying to do something closer to a digital painting. Most of them do have 3 plus signs on light fastness. That probably means that they're in the 7 or 8 blue wool scale light fastness. 3 or 4 of them had a 2, which probably means they're more of a 5 to 6. Those are all excellent light fast ratings for a student grade watercolor. I do think you would be safe to use these in pieces that you're going to actually display or sell rather than just scan and use the digital product. The brush that came with it really surprised me. At first I just thought it was your average synthetic round watercolor brush. Number 6 is what I go for. It's perfect for this size painting. It really surprised me because you can dry brush with it, but it does hold water very, very well. You can make paint go a very long way with it, but it holds a point like nothing else. I did not have to pull out any other brushes except for my signature at the end. Every single thing I did on this painting was done with the number 6 brush that came with this palette. Sorry about the construction noise outside. They are still doing our road. It's been like a month and a half now. They said 2 weeks. If this Royal Talens brush was included in something like a scrawler box where you're presented with a few different colors to work with and you have one brush and the whole idea is to do the challenge with just the items you've been sent, so you're only allowed to use that brush, I would not be upset with this brush at all. For those who are curious, I was using my Stillman and Byrne Beta Series Mixed Media sketchbook. This is an A5 size. I expect it will still impress me just as much, if not more, on paper intended specifically for watercolors. And of course you will see me using it on proper watercolor paper because I'm going to be trotting this out a lot. I like this set. Definitely worth your investment if you are looking for a high student grade set of watercolors. If you're not quite ready to invest in, say, the Rembrandts or like Winsor & Newton's professional line, if you're not ready for the highest end, this will do most of what you need it to do. 4.5, 5 stars. I really like this set. That's my review. Good set, very solid set, very happy to have this, very happy to add these watercolors to my collection, expand my collection. I'm looking forward to playing with mixed media with these, going over top in pencil, going over top in ink, that sort of thing. I toyed with actually lining this piece in ink, but I like the, children's fairy tale storybook feel of not lining it. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, thanks for checking out this review, and thank you for checking out the Art Addicts Alliance. Once again, if you haven't checked out the others already, I have linked all of their channels in the description box down below and in the pinned comment. Go check them out, go tell them Jenna sent you, and if you're looking for more to watch, I've got some suggestions up on the left side of the screen now. Don't forget to like, comment, maybe even subscribe, and if you like living life creatively, whatever that means to you, I'd love to have you along for the ride. Bye guys!